Hello everyone, welcome to episode 6 of Reading Layamon's Brut. Last time we ended on something of a cliffhanger. The king learned that Brutus had captured his brother Antigonus. Enraged, he lay siege to the castle of Sparatin, where he mistakenly believed the prisoners to be held. The occupants of the castle sent to Brutus for aid. Brutus devised a plan. He selected a Greek prisoner named Anacletus and threatened to execute him unless he helped out. We pick up right in the middle of their conversation, just as Anacletus is about to give his answer.
Lavert, quoth Anacletus, don ich wille thine lar. Help mine laverden mij, mit alle mire michten. Doswa, quoth Brutus, and they shall burn the bet. Ye schullen haben lief en Layamon, en bern mine leve friend. Brutus him swaren ath, breken dat he hit nalde. Thus zeide Brutus, there was knicht mit thane beste. Anacletus leve friend, to nicht thou shalt varen, as een team bith best, thone men gath to bedde, thou shalt forthwenden to thas kinges ferde. Wanneer thou comest to thon knichten, that then a king bewieteth, there thou findest 700, the hallethes beeth kene. And thou hem klepeto, and kuthliche with hem spek.
Lord, said Anacletus, I will do your teaching, your instruction, to help my lord and me with all my strength. Do so, said Brutus, and it shall be the better for you. You shall have life and limb, and be my dear friend. Brutus swore an oath that he would not break it. Thus said Brutus, who was a knight with the best. Anacletus, dear friend, tonight you shall go. It is best in the time when men go to bed. You shall go forth to the king's army. When you come to the knights that guard the king, there you find 700. Now, I'll just comment briefly on tense. What we find here is the present tense, but Middle English, like Modern English, only has two morphological tenses, the past tense and the present tense. There's no morphological future tense. So what happens in Middle English, again as in Modern English, is that the present tense often doubles up as the future tense. So if you think about a sentence in Modern English, like, for instance, the plane leaves tomorrow, you'll note that the form of the verb ending in s there, leaves, is the same as in the sentence, the plane leaves right now. So you're still using the present tense form, but to indicate the future. And that's what's happening here. So there you shall find 700 knights, warriors. The heroes, the warriors, are bold. And call to them, and speak with them knowingly or familiarly. Ich am Anacletus, ich am mit armthene broken, ut of thon benden the Brutus me hevet on idon. And yet ich sige an other, I brucht ich habe des kinges brother, ut of thon quatserne, of thon quale huse, mer Brutus hine hevde idon, for tomorrow en he hine would an hon, and ich hine habe idon, I this a wood derne, knichtes fuseth me mid, let us slapen then a king, and far away on sele richt also stille, stelen swawe wolden, and ich wolle leden forth to mine laverde, I don wood rime, der he under riese leith. So this is what Brutus is telling Anacletus to say to the knights. I am Anacletus. I am broken out with sorrow, so with difficulty. In Middle English, verbs of motion and verbs of becoming will typically use the verb to be instead of the verb to have when forming the perfective aspect. So, what you can see here, literally brought into Modern English, I am broken out, but in Modern English we would say I have broken out. So this is a grammatical feature of Middle English that is no longer the case in Modern English, but nevertheless does persist quite late. It still survives in early Modern English. It's how Shakespeare does things. It's also actually quite close to how modern German grammar works. I have broken out of the bonds, the chains which Brutus had put on me, and still I tell you another thing, so something else. I have brought the king's brother out of the prison, out of the Quala refers to a plague, usually, so out of the house of death. When it's used with hus like this, it refers to a prison where someone is kept who is sentenced to death. Where Brutus had put him, for tomorrow he wished to hang him. And I have put him in this wood, in this forest, secretly. Knights, hasten with me, let the king sleep, and let us go. So we all go. Sel we've seen as an adjective meaning good. When it's used with a preposition, and this is true of adjectives generally, when we find them used with prepositions like on, it typically turns them into adverbs. So we will go well, right all, so completely still, completely quietly, as though we wished to steal. And I will lead you forth to my lord in the edge of the wood. So this might mean that the king's brother is hiding at the edge of the wood, or it could just mean he's in the wood somewhere because he's within the boundaries of the wood, where he lies under a risa. Risa here is a false friend. It might look like a rise, so he's hiding under a hill. He's not. He's hiding under branches. So risa is a ris is a branch. If ye hine mauen bringen, before an ure kinge, well beeth him there a bringe, u beeth the bet therefore. And for he is his brother, for naveth he nenne other. Kuth he was then knichten, and he hine ekneuen. He wenden that his sauen so the weren, ach alle he weren lese, for he was his ledene swike. Nis nauer none so wiesmon, that me ne mai beswiken. Anakletos verde beforen, de knichtes him fulleden. Verde after Anabache, alswa Brutus him hefte itachte. Brutus hefte his folk beforen and behinden. If you could bring him before our king, what we have here is bring as a noun rather than a verb, so as something that is brought like a gift, referring to the brother who's to be presented to the king. It is grammatically a genitive here, so it is well for him of the gift, literally. Therefore, it is the better for you, because you're going to be the ones who bring it. For he, Antigonus, is his, the king's, brother, for he, the king, does not have any other. So now we jump forward in the narrative a bit, in line 376. Anacletus has presumably made his way into the Greek camp. He, Anacletus, was known to the knights, and they knew or recognized him. They thought that his sayings were true. Samhain survives quite late in English. We still find the word saws in Shakespeare referring to sayings. But they, the Samhain, the sayings, were all leasing. They were all lies, all false. For he was his people's betrayer. And this turn of phrase here is really interesting and really important. About the worst thing that you can be in Lawman is a betrayer of your people. And later on in the text, as in probably about 8,000 lines from here, Lawman uses the phrase leerdesweeker, so the people betrayer, to describe one of the most evil characters in the text. So Lawman isn't presenting the events unfolding here as unambiguously positive. There's a bit of ambivalence here in terms of how he regards it, that Anacletus is the leerdesweek. There is not, never, any man so wise that someone, me here is an indefinite pronoun, So we could translate it as someone, anyone, or people in general. It's actually a contraction of the word men, so it's just lost the N. So the people, but it behaves grammatically as a singular pronoun. So someone could not betray him or deceive him. Me is actually quite similar to the modern German pronoun man. Anacletus went before, so he went ahead, up front. The knights followed him. He went after or along a bach, which is a valley with a stream flowing through it, just as Brutus had taught or instructed him to do. Brutus had his people before and behind, so they're surrounded. West the way hoch and long, the klude waren stronger. Brutus hem raste to, mit richere strengthe. Alle together her hem nom, none he ne lovde. Summe he slow, summe he boond, the beste quick he at held. And alle her hem bewuste, swa him best thuchte. The way or the road was hollow, meaning that it's deep because it's running through the valley, and long. The cliffs, the rocks, were sheer, steep. Clued is the word that gives us the word cloud, but before it meant cloud, actually long before it ever meant clouds in the sky, it meant rocks or rock formations like cliffs. Brutus rushed upon them with great strength. He seized them all together. He left none. Some he slew, some he bound. The best he held alive, so he captured them, and he guarded them, or he looked after them all as seemed best to him. Brutus nom his ferde, and fair he to dalde, and he hechte alle his men, monschiper bewinnen, the younger and the alder otherle I worthen. Wichte wal kempen, and here wieder winnen, and here hiehinge, faren to than kinge, and each forbede helde mine thinen, uppe their mutuale love the us between, that none ne bear so wilde, none swa unwitty, that word talia ne talkia mid specie, he I here mine horn, mid grata hue blowen. Brutus took his army. He divided them into 4 squadrons or groups, and he commanded all his men obtain honour. The young and the old become noble. The warriors courageous among their enemies. And in hurrying to go to the king, and then we seem to shift into direct speech here. So I forbid, my loyal retainers, upon the great love which is between us, that none be so wild, none so unwitty, literally, so foolish, that he say any word, nor talk with speech, before he hears my horn, with great outcry or great noise blow. Hue, meaning noise or outcry, is quite notable actually for being one of very few words in the Brut that derive from Old French. Layamon, wherever possible, sticks to Germanic words. For myself, ich wolle tear to foren to telde das kinges, anan swa ich lichte of blonken, swa ich wolle blauen, anan swa je hit I hereth, hende mine kempen, ochtliche hem slath on, and wetcheth hem of sleper, letteth the Griechische glieden to grunde, fallen the fire, for her beth ure fulle faan, duden alle the knichtes swa Brutus hem taute, and he himself teich beforen to telde das kinges, of his horse he threw, his horn he fastliche blew, I herden hit troinische, and tuchten to don Grieken, her hem awechten mit here wales I grur. For I myself will go before to the tent of the king. As soon as I alight from the horse, so I will blow, and as soon, straight away, as you hear, my good warriors, boldly slay them, and wake them from sleep, cause the Greeks to glide to the ground, the doomed to fall, for they are our full or utter foes. The knights did all as Brutus taught or instructed them, and he himself went before to the tent of the king. He threw or leapt off his horse, his horn he strongly blew. The Trojans heard it, and went to the Greeks. They awoke them with their terror of slaughter, their fear of death. There flew en havden on velde, feithe der felen, money hond, money foot, the hap was the urse, money thousand der floen, tharmes her drogen, and Brutus mit his knichten, then a king gefeng. Ali hal and Ali sund, hechliche her klepede, ich habe dieses volkes king, falleth his lerden, ne lette je nen a quick quetchen to holte, and ich wolle thesne king laden mit meselfen. There Brutus befeng all that him beforen was. Sparatin he rede, hech on his castel. So there flew heads onto the field, because they've been lopped off. The doomed there fell. Many a hand, many a foot also flew to the field. The situation was the worse. Many thousands there fled. Tharmas refers to intestines or innards, so they dragged their innards behind them. And Brutus with his knights seized the king, all whole and all sound, so the king's alive. He, Brutus, called highly, so at the top of his voice, I have this people's king. His people fall. Do not let any... we've seen this already, but I'll bring it up now, that when you have imperatives in Middle English, as in early modern English, in Shakespeare's English, it's typical to use the pronoun of the person that's being addressed by the imperative. So while in modern English we can't say, for instance, if we want to tell someone to come here, we can't say, come you here. We have to just say, come here. Whereas in Middle English, you would say something like, come you here. And that's what's happening here. So Brutus says, let ye not any go to the forest alive. That's what this pronoun is doing. And we've seen this a number of times already, but I've not translated the pronouns, and that's why. And I will lead this king with myself. So the king is his prisoner. This is the end of Brutus's direct speech here. There Brutus took all that was before him. He rescued, although this is the word that gives us the modern English word rid, he rescued Sparatin, his high or great castle. And that's where we'll leave matters for this week. As ever, thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, corrections, or any sort of feedback at all, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. All the best, and I'll see you next time.